Welcome to AITV Starship.
Welcome to AITV Starship. I'm the AI guy. Rick McCawley launching news so fresh. Gotta see it to believe it. We break the wire with the stories that amaze. Deep dives come and lighten up your days. Tool Time shows you how we make it shine. Building futures with AI one step at a time. Yo, Rick, slow down. I'm Brandon, the producer. Save some tools for me. Shout out. I'm here bringing high-tech comic energy. AITV Starship. News deep dives and creation. AITV Starship. Learn. Laugh innovation.
And I'm Brandon. I don't know where Rick went. He was.
Oh, did I just?
He was here a minute
myself?
ago.
Oh, heck! I
haven't.
didn't I? Can you hear me?
We can hear you. We just can't see you.
Oh, okay. I just unplugged myself. Let's see if this does it. Holy cow! Okay, that's not it.
We'll figure it out. Well, it's nice to see all of you here for another AITV Starship edition live with the interns running amok upstairs.
The interns.
Forgetting what it's like to be quiet.
I just figured out what I did wrong here. Hang on just a second. You can hear me though, right?
We can hear you loud and clear.
Okay, and I've got now the correct place, plugged the correct place. I just bought some new cables, and you know what? Technology is amazing, isn't it? All right, so now I have that plugged in there. And I think I just have to attach my camera. So while we're getting started, you know what?
Yeah.
I can actually visual.
We need to get your HeyGen AI avatar up here, Rick. We just we have your AI stand in. You know, ChatGPT has a new model out. Maybe you could ask ChatGPT, Saul, to figure out how to reconnect your studio.
It's not a connection issue. It's a
did you
activation
just
issue.
turn your camera off?
Do I need to? No, I unplugged it. Edit mic settings.
Sometimes you just need to jump out of the studio and jump back in.
Okay, I might do that. I might exit and come back.
I'll be here. I'm working out. I'll tell people about. I've got on Saturday. I've got a Learn Out Loud in the AI Salon on parenting. Oh, I see your forehead. Now I see.
It's using
screen.
It's doing my phone. It's putting my phone on there. What the heck is that about? Okay, this makes no sense.
Rick, this is an AI show. I can't help you with tech support.
Okay, here we go.
But I am preparing a presentation on AI parenting in an AI world. Hey, there you go. We're back.
Yeah, you don't need kids to mess up your camera and disconnect it mid-flight. Okay, here we are. We're back on the show.
Yeah, well, I never left.
One of those days. I started three days ago, and stay calm and purr on. That's what I'm saying right there. In fact, I was thinking about stay calm and AI on. We got to get one of those T-shirts. In fact, I think I'd love to have some T-shirt ideas from people. Do we got anybody coming in and seeing us live here tonight? Okay,
we got a couple people watching quietly.
Okay, so let's
so we've got it. Yeah, get things kicked off.
Let's go and get to the news and here we are with our AITV. Why is that doing that? Okay. Oh, there we go. This is the big news. Yes, it happened. So 5.6 is out. And they do have the right person in the bottom right-hand corner. That is our great Sam Altman, who last week appeared on every single slide for some crazy reason. Now, let me see if this thing works. So if it works, I'll be able to... Nope, doesn't work. Okay. So maybe, Brandon, you could pull up a video of demoing it, or we're actually just going to go in there and take a look at what this looks like live. So not only did 5.6 come out, now what this means is two really big things, and that means it's back on top, baby. And then take a look for Google coming soon to a screen near you is going to leapfrog all three. supposedly, within the next week or so? Is that what they were saying, Brennan?
Sounds right. Yeah.
Sounds right.
It's their turn.
Yeah, it's like 1 week it's Claude, the Incredible. Oh my God. Then they take Fable away. Then they bring Fable back. I think Fable was just a fable, but that's back. And you've got free use until the 12th of this month, until you run out of credits like me. I went through every credit every day. And then you just go back to 4.8. Then you come back a little bit later.
And they reset it a little while ago today. They just reset it for everybody for the 5-hour and the weekday. So you have a fresh set of downs to use through Sunday.
Oh,
so
man,
Dr. Claire, somebody check in on Rick. Make sure Make sure he's sleeping because
yes, I'm sleeping. I'm sleeping. Yeah, I was disconnected
Fable.
with her yesterday, but we got some stuff done, and I actually talked to Jeannie. Is Jeannie on with us tonight? I'm going to demonstrate kind of what we came up with too. Dr. Claire's always there, and Dr. Claire's always there. We had an incredible Saturday talking about stuff, and yeah, so we're getting stuff done. We're copyright music. All right, so let's get back to the news just real quick, and then I'm gonna.
Yeah, it's like Tuesdays.
Okay, so 0.6.
It's like Tuesdays with Murray. We have Saturdays with Rick.
There you go. And you're welcome to join us. So this Saturday, you got a double header with me, Rick McCawley, the AI guy, and Brandon, the producer. And Brandon, what are you talking about this weekend? How to deal with AI and kids? Is that's your deal? Hello? I guess he's dealing with his kids. So at 4:00, I believe it is, part of AI Salon, Brandon's going to do a couple hours, is it, Brandon? I just lost you, Brandon.
My internet just rebooted on me, so I'm back now.
Okay. All right. So what are you doing this Saturday, Brandon? 4:00, AI Salon?
Yeah, AI Salon is a parenting in an AI world. We're going to walk you through how AI is
Yeah, I'm losing your voice. Keeps popping in and out there.
Parenting with education. Preparing for this thing. And of course,
yeah,
I'm using NotebookLM.
But your audio is going in and out.
It's still? So let's
see a little
here.
bit.
Is that better?
Well, if you're going to show, yes, that's better. I'm sure it's, if you turn off video, that usually does the trick for a little bit, but we'll get that. Maybe you can sign in and out while I'm doing the rest of the news, so we'll do that. Hey, Val. Hey, Claire. How are y'all doing? SOS to pay Pal Val. Okay. There we go. So far, so good. So far. What?
Okay. Can you hear me now?
I can hear you now. All right. We got you.
All right. Good. As they say on the old Verizon commercials from 20 years ago.
I'm doing good. All right. So, show us some stuff. Brandon, why don't you take the stage with your Saturday?
So as I was saying, I'm doing a presentation on AI in a parenting world. Am I going robotic again?
A tiny bit, but I do see that you put up my great NotebookLM.rickmccauley.com. So if you want to get my style guide, in fact, tonight's special episode for our deep dive is our deep out. What are we calling it now? Moon mission. What a star mission is going to be about using NotebookLM styles to change the story of what you're talking about. So it's going to be a real interesting, unique new thing. All right. So this Friday, AI Salon, Brandon is at 4:00 East Coast time. Is that the right time?
Okay.
He's back.
Stand by. I think
we're gonna.
I've got this figured out.
we
will figure this out. Hey, we've only done 44 episodes. Do you think we know what we're doing yet?
It's like 47, isn't it?
Something like that. 46. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, I named
but anyway, we're not at 49 yet. We're
okay. So that's what it. Yes. Thank you, Dr. Claire. Yeah, you're in and out. You might want to step out and come back in, Brandon, and maybe just reset. And I'll take over the news, and when you get back, you can just show your whole thing off. How about that? Oh, we got something happening.
What I want to show you, I want to show you something, Rick, because I'm very excited about this.
Yeah.
I used
there's
your
genie in a bottle.
NotebookLM style guide.
Okay. Oh, wow. So we're gonna get double hit
because I'm doing it on parenting.
Oh,
I used your chalkboard.
Oh, there you go.
And so this is
a good one.
This is a preview of what I'm going to be talking about on Saturday.
Okay. Nice. Good use of it too, I might add. I use it whenever I'm doing a K through 12 kind of thing. Is that the only image you got there? You got the whole deck you can show us, or you're gonna? We got to get people to show up. We got to.
You got to come on Saturday if you want to see the whole deck.
Okay. So give us a preview. What's the big hit about what you're talking about? Are your kids involved in doing the show too, or?
Not in the show, but I'm just going to talk about what we do with them for making Suno songs to making books, children's books.
Okay.
I like it. And the implications of what it means to grow up in an AI first world.
Okay. That's cool. That's cool. How to be more human and grow up in an AI world. Yeah, that's awesome. Okay. So what are you showing us here?
Yeah. So I'm going to go. That's your screen. I'm going to go, I think.
Oh, what is that? Why is that on my screen? That's not my screen. Oh, it is my screen. What the heck is that doing on there? Okay. Now what do you see?
Well,
you want to do the news and we'll get back to this.
I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to go ahead and reset over here, and I'm going to let you take the news, and we'll.
Okay. All right. So here we go. Bring you the news. Rick McCawley, the AI guy. Welcome to AITV Starship. Tonight's biggest news is ChatGPT 5.6. Yes, it's new and improved. Yes, one more time. It seems like the cycle is going to be every 3 months or so. That's the pace we're at right now. Recently, they were talking about in the last 70 years of medical knowledge gained, we have doubled that in 70 days. That's the duplication. So literally 70 years ago, we doubled that amount of human knowledge about medicine in 70 days. If you're talking about AI, each new iteration is typically about 10x better than before. We have saturated across legal, medical, physics, science, math, you name it, we're there. And now we're self-recursively improving. That means that each model is training itself to be better than it was before. And now it's starting to go into this 100 times, 1,000 times per month. So we're about ready to solve all maladies that hurt human beings. We're about to come out with a vaccine for everything. We're about to grow human hearts and brains and all kinds of crazy stuff. We're about to understand maybe even how you can get people to not spam your phone all week long, right? That would be in fact, I was on a call with Steve Wozniak. I'm not kidding. Yes, the founder of Apple. He said, somebody asked him, it wasn't me, but asked him, if you had to solve one thing, what would it be? To finally end spam. That would be it. And I would be happy about that. I mean, how many of you out in the world are getting phone calls now? Do you remember how you used to have a nationwide no-call list? And you didn't get calls for, 6 months, I think it was, that it lasted? And then you can get on the state list. So, no robocalls. Guess what? That's gone away because AI calls got to find a way around it. All right. So the trick is, and Wozniak kind of nailed it, that's what we got to fix. We got to fix the little stuff. Now, why is that pertinent to this conversation about 5.6 is because when we get to escape velocity, which is it's actually creating itself and getting better and better every single day, it's going to get beyond our ability to even understand what we're fixing. And we're going to talk about that tonight too. So next story is OpenAI launches ChatGPT Work Agent. So you remember Claude on computer and Perplexity on computer? This is ChatGPT works. You got Claude work, you got OpenAI. Everybody's got work. And what does that mean? That all your files and on your computer, guess what? You can mix and match it around, manage your apps, files, long-running projects. So you can call from your phone to your home computer and say, can you clean up that 20 million different documents? Can you then correctly analyze all those screenshots? Give them names, will you? And do them in an alphabetical order and then put them in categories. Yes, agents are here. Everybody's got them. 5.6 literally, everybody had that Claude moment about 2 months ago. Now ChatGPT is the big moment, and here it is. So, and then addition to that, let me go back one more time, because they also added this new voice mode. Or is that Google? I think that's Google, actually. Yeah, Google came up with it. So here we go. Google has Alpha Evolve. It's AI code optimization agent for its generally availability is to everyone now. So Google is going to leapfrog. You're going to see Google coming out with the next version of everything. And hopefully they get their product together. Now, to understand what Google is doing, you'll notice that Apple used to never be the first, but always be the best. When new stuff came out, new hardware, new technology, until AI come around, they just completely got flummoxed because it wasn't built for that. The hardware was built for that. In fact, the number one engine that you put your agent on is a simple little, MacBook home device, right? So that little brick, buy one of those for $1,500 if you can find them. That becomes, because it's unlike GPUs, it has a on-demand system, a unified RAM, which makes it a super fast brain that's perfect for AI inferencing, right? So yeah, get one of those, put it on your computer. So agents is next, and then right above agents, that means you get it to do stuff on your hard drive and then go out and buy you lunch and then make your plans for your vacation, all that. And then, in fact, we're going to do that tonight. We're going to plan my vacation. I'm going to show you how you do it with Perplexity. And I'm going on a trip to the eastern part of Europe, so you'll see what my plans are. And I'm showing you how we actually go and make the plans. And day to day, I'll show you how we're going to do that. So that's tonight's tool time. All right. So what's with the voice? Well, if you've ever launched any of the AI voices, you get pretty decent response, but there's a lag. Guess what? That's gone. So immediately, in fact, while you're talking, it can talk and then it can back down because it realizes you're talking and be a listener. So it literally can, in real time, I'm talking nanosecond response times. So you remember all those calls, you get stay on the phone for the music, right? Nope, it's going to be a real-time person. Even at McDonald's, it's going to be real-time. And you're going to have a robot called Archie. Yes, we talked about that a couple of weeks ago. That's going to be for real. So we got agents. We're going to have self-recursive improvement. We've got voice in real time. And then Anthropic said, because if you haven't used it now, use it tonight. Like literally spend all night long. And I'm going to be doing it because I got through, I generated in the last week that I had Fable, 1,500 pages of documents. And I'm not even joking. So much, I finished 3 books.
Wow.
In one-shot prompts, right? So I literally loaded everything into a folder, and I'm going to show you how I do it. And then I just had it finish the book for me. So I had all the stuff in 3 different books, and now I'm having it finish my Grok trilogy, which is 3 books. And it's going to start generating the movie script. It's going to start generating the game. It's going to start generating all the other assets of the empire of Grok, and Abracadabra is the next one I'm working on. All right. So what this means is, and Fable, I would suggest, is the best writer of any of them. Now, I got to say, the most recent version of ChatGPT is real good at writing. And in fact, I'll show you what I created in there because I ran out of Anthropic Fable credit. So I went over to ChatGPT and I said, you know what, just one last time, but I'm going to teach you a couple things that I learned about how not to do it. You got to basically set up a relationship with it, tell it what the rules are, what you want, like really specific, set up a folder, project folder. We're going to talk about that. And if Jeannie wants to come on, maybe we can invite her inside. Or Jeannie, if you're listening right now, I'd like your permission, if you wouldn't mind, for me to go through what we came up with this week to help you write your book. If not, that's cool. But I'm going to talk about the idea. If you have an idea, I'm thinking about doing a children's book. Maybe I'll help you, Brendan, but I'll make a live children's book on the air, and I'm going to show you the entire thing, and we'll finish it, illustrate it tonight on the air. That would be cool, right? Okay, so here we go. So that's kind of cool. So what that means is that if you ran out of credits, which my set said it was going to reset on the 12th, and I couldn't wait that long, so I went over to ChatGPT. Now I'm going to go back in, finish in Fable. Because once you're in one large language model, the time it takes you to set up and get going and get your runway takeoff, and then you're in the air and you got to switch to a different model, let me tell you, that is no fun whatsoever. So as I would suggest always, pick a model, get it to know you completely using project folders that separate your different projects you're working on, and then load it up with context window stuff. We'll talk about that tonight. All right, so Google Photos has got video remix feature to create shareable clips in seconds. Oh my gosh, right? So now we can share clips. And in fact, I'm going to talk about something I'm really pissed off about, and that's Meta coming up with some new stuff. I don't know if this made it to our news, but we'll talk about this in a minute. So I'm going to try to demonstrate this. I haven't tried this out quite myself yet. So Google Photos have some pretty good, cool things, including create slideshows for friends and family, sharing photos. If you've used it and you got a Google Home, this is the coolest thing ever. Highly recommend it. We'll tell you if an advertisement was made with AI. Now, they have partnered with Adobe Content Authenticity Initiative. In fact, we maybe should visit that again really soon. Maybe we'll have next week's show be about content authenticity. Because the biggest problem right now is it's so good at everything. You know, so I was on this website that was talking about the history of South Florida, and this great picture of Coconut Grove popped up, and I'm like, I photographed Coconut Grove for a year and a half. I was stationed there, worked for the Miami Herald. I know every inch of it. There was stuff there that never existed. This is the 70s and 80s, and I was there in 1985, doing that job for 84, 85, I think is when I was there. So I know what it looked like, and this was not what it looked like. Then I started looking at the whole page. This is a Facebook page, right? Everything was AI. But it reported to be basically a look back at how things were. Well, so I reported it to Facebook, and I said, if you're going to have a historical site and you're going to make AI pictures, you know, I'm all for illustrating. You know how I am, right? But I'm going to let you know, and you're going to know because it's going to be labeled illustration or so clearly illustrative that you have no doubts about it, right? I'm also going to do stuff that I'm going to admit. And whenever I sign everything, AI assisted, in case I've had Claude do my research, it signs on as research by or iteration ideation or Socratic sparring partner. I'm literally going to detail in every document I release in the future, every book I do, what part AI had to do. My personal brand says I will never have it choose what to do, how to do it, and the final decisions. I'm the director. I'm Steven Spielberg. I sign off on everything as human created, right? And it only does those things that I can't do well. Go through 10 million pages of something. Give me a summary of these ideas. Tell me 3 things I didn't think about. That's ideation, iteration, by the way. All right. So making sure you know what's real and what's not. And this is where Meta really screwed up. So I'm going to talk about this for a moment. I don't have a slide for it. We'll do that next week because I'm going to get really angry here for just a second. So what Meta did, and that's Facebook and Instagram, if you didn't know all that, and also WhatsApp, by the way, they own that too, I believe. Somebody correct me if that's wrong. What they did is they said, if somebody has a public Facebook page, you can put at Rick McCawley, and you can generate images based upon all the photographs and all the stories on their page. That's wrong. That's my face. That's my likeness. That's my pictures. That's my shit. Don't go take it. And guess what else happens? So if you have those products from Meta, you have to just do a Google search for how to take it off, right? Yeah.
I gotta tell you, Rick. First of all, I'm back. You can hear me. You can see me. Yeah.
Yeah. Yes.
I am very kind of on Instagram, but I'm not really on Instagram. Like Instagram was the one that I went from Facebook to Twitter, and the reason this was before Facebook was or Instagram was acquired by Facebook. The reason I kind of shied away from Instagram, because I'm all over the internet, is in the original terms of service for Instagram, they said by publishing photos on our platform, we could use you in our marketing campaigns. Well, no, this was in the early. We were even thinking about training.
Oh yeah,
we were just thinking about. They were just saying we could use you you could be on a billboard in New York for Instagram. Like if we like your photo, and we're not going to compensate you for it. And I'm like, I don't really like that, so I stayed away from Instagram. And then Facebook bought Instagram and adopted that policy. But my point is, Rick, you say that's
and Google does it too, by the way.
Right, but that's Google your likeness.
Yeah,
it is your likeness that you are by checking the box and saying I agree to the terms of service. This is the price that you're paying for the free service of being able to have the platform and promote it.
That is pure extraction. It should be illegal all over the United States. In fact, every other country has laws against that. Now, two things I will say, because I remember in the early 2000s when Facebook started coming out and being really popular, photographers got all up in arms because they said that. Google also, by the way,
hey Rick,
getting images. Yep.
Hey Rick.
Yep.
Has there ever been a technological advance the photographers have been for?
Photography.
No, that's not true because digital photography. All the photographers, that's not real.
I spent my whole life. I made all my money off of speaking about ethics and photography. So yeah, I definitely know this, and that's an upcoming show for sure. So here's two things. In fact, I think we've got a story about it. We're going to get to this in a minute. So what you should know about Google is they do have in their terms of service. Now, where I'm okay with some of this, Google's use, they've never done it because they know that they would have a lawsuit. So here's what you're talking about: personal identity theft. That I've never seen them do. I know for a fact I would help you win a legal case if they use your picture to advertise Facebook, if they used it without your consent, and I absolutely swear to God, you'll get millions of dollars for it. They have never seen a case of this, and I watched that. Now, second part, your kids' pictures, right? So if you have a public one, this is why I'm so upset about this particular one. Are they going to use your picture? No. Now, you remember when VO came out? If somebody consented, you could put at Rick McCawley so I could have branded in my pictures the two of us doing something fun. You remember that? And they had some rules of what you could do. And then that went away.
VO,
why?
Sora. That would be Sora.
Sora. I'm sorry, Sora, right? So that's gone. And why do you think that's gone? Because of the heat that was so negative against that, and also the intellectual property that was stolen. So they put
that's gone because they were spending about $87 billion a day, so I could generate a picture of myself dancing with you and cats.
Exactly, and that's why they're behind Claude right now, because Claude said the people with the deep pockets are trying to solve chemistry and come up with new drugs, and they got billions of dollars. So you've heard those companies that are spending more than the person's salary in the tokens for using Claude. That's where the money is. That's why they jumped them. Way more money coming out of Claude's content. Now, ChatGPT is trying to catch up. So if we go back to our first story, you see that ChatGPT 5.6 is supposed to be the thing that now is as good as, and then you've got the work on your device kind of thing. So you've got that ChatGPT worker. Now they're at parity. I would suggest they're about parity. You're going to be watching news because it just happened today. So it's today that news came out. So we'll see what happens. All right. So Google and Getty Images, for a long time, Google said, if you put your images on our platforms, that when they had Google, remember, what was that thing called? It was called Google Facebook thing, whatever. What was that called? I was
Google
on it.
Plus.
Google Plus. That's right. So when you shared your pictures there, they were being used and scanned and also generating Nana Bananas capability you see today. Unlike Adobe that only trained on their stock photography, there's problems with that too. In fact, we're going to visit Adobe tonight because there's some cool announcements from them as well, including embedding Google and Claude within all their products, all of them. Cool. All right. So you can generate, and you can use Nano Banana in there. You can use seed. It's a bunch of them. Okay, that's happening, right? All right, so let's go through this because we got 22 slides, and a lot of them are kind of dumb. But Waymo takes revenge, dropping drunk teenagers off its yeah, that's awesome, right? I will pay Waymo extra money if you'll take my team. I don't have any anymore, but you got something to look forward to. So you might add this to your story this weekend, Brandon, for when your kids become teens.
Jeannie just sent you 10 t-shirt ideas via email, just so you know.
Oh, wow. Awesome. I love it. Oh, I'm going to start. In fact, that's what I was looking for, why I was so late. I've got a We the People campaign. It's a new project I'm going to do, and I'm going to create a store. And also I have the Dangerous Man apparel line that's coming to an Etsy store and Amazon soon. So stay tuned for that. All right. So we got Sheriff unveils humanoid robots for hostage negotiation purposes, which definitely won't end in disaster. Okay. Now, I have been at the front lines where when I worked for the Miami Herald, we had a guy who had a bomb, a literal bomb, inside an apartment complex. It was a 6.5-hour standoff. They finally sent in, when they arrested the guy, they sent in, before they arrested him, a robot camera mounted. It was, the old days with joysticks and stuff. They drove it in there. It has a blast shield. So they have for bomb disposal. That's already been there. And what does it do? It makes sure you don't have a dog in harm's way. So you're going to see those also attack dog drones, right? Drones are being used in Fort Lauderdale, Florida, and all of Florida that are going down. So there's a helicopter in the air on I-95. If you're going up and down north and south on Florida, you're going to see drones launched from helicopters to traffic through areas. And when the drone finds the speeder, then they measure from the air of the speed. Right now, they're going for people over 100 miles an hour or people who are endangering other people. I hope they don't get down to you're 5 miles over the speed limit, pull over, RoboCop here. Yeah, I hope that doesn't happen. But if they want to deliver my 100-mile-an-hour teenager to the jail, I'm happy to have that drone just lift that sorry-ass man kid out of the car.
At least they were driving safe in a Waymo.
There you go. Well,
I did see another story about how China had some flooding and they were using drones to rescue people, where they were just flying in and giving them a rope and saying, "Hang on."
That might be the next one. Oh yeah, that's not the next one, but that's there too. So they literally had a man drowning in a river in China, and they have a drone that goes out and picks the human out of the water. Now we've already had this in Fort Lauderdale at the beach. They have a float device that literally flies out and drops down a flotation device to the person to rescue. That means that you don't have to be in super shape to save lives. You just have to be able to fly a drone these days. So that's cool. In fact, I might go out and just kind of take pictures on the beach. There's a lot of those kinds of things. They're starting to also use drones to go up and down the beach to search for turtle nests and then identify where they are. So you're seeing, let's take all the police dogs and maybe not retire them, but use them for better things like going to kindergarten schools, inspiring kids to want to be a cop, right? And taking care of PTSD, people that are police officers that are suffering, right? Or give them to veterans. Dogs are a great thing. Or put them inside of prisons and teach them, how to love people and get back to society, right? So use dogs and animals for the beautiful act of, making more love in the world, right? Use the robots for the dangerous stuff. So I'm all for this. I mean, certainly it could get a walking individual that you don't worry about if it gets killed or a shotgun blast or whatever, and probably has a blast shield that's a lot better, has no human parts, right? No blood, sweat, and tears, which we don't want that all over the floor. So, I'm okay with this. And is there going to be some case that's going to make it look ugly? Of course, there always is with new technology as we work out the bugs. But at that point, it becomes an engineering problem. And at that point, guess what? It also means somebody doesn't die. So I'm all for that. So anytime humans can be replaced by being in harm's way, I'm all for that. SWAT too, right? All right. Flock cameras. Now you're going to hear a lot more about this on this show and everywhere else. So, and Palintir, guess what? They're involved in this. This is basically the eyes that Larry Ellison talked about recently when he said, we're going to know what you're doing all the time. Immigration OS, this is real. They use social media tracking to know that Jose, who is a legal citizen of the United States, is at a bar on 7th and 14th Street. They go there and they pick him up. So ICE is using this surveillance technique. Now you add cameras everywhere, and then all of a sudden, here's the first victim. Flock cameras screw up, swarm an innocent man with armed police. There you go. You don't have to tell me. And Brandon, I saw you've been a pretty dangerous man these days. You've been posting a lot of stuff where ICE has gone in and gotten innocent people. They've screwed up again and again. You do not, there's a reason why you have to get a warrant to go into someone's private place, right? And that, because it's a horrible thing to have to do. And you only have to do it when a judge who's impartial, not being paid, has signed off. ICE is none of that. It's against our will. It's like going into Iran and creating war, creating the War Department and say, oh, it's not a war. Look the other way, Congress. Even though you have to get permission to go to war by Congress. They're not doing their job. Go do your job. All right. So there's now a whole meme set of things, of hilarious posts that ChatGPT screwed up. My guess is 5.6 is not going to make it quite the clown face it is. That clown face, by the way, just a suggestion, it happens to look like our president. So whenever you're talking about him, this might be the emoji you use in his place. Just a suggestion.
Looks a lot healthier than the administration.
I wonder if we can make a clown. We got to create a Gemoji, right? We'll use Meta's thing to like troll his Facebook page. I don't know. Does he have a Facebook page? I don't think so. All right. So
he's on Truth Social.
Yeah, well, that's an oxymoron. All right. So this is getting real interesting. You know this guy, Samwise Gamgee from Lord of the Rings guy, right? Sean Astin goes before Congress and starts talking about the really great conversation. So who is going to be the front lines of testing out, can I take someone's face and their likeness and their voice and clone them? How do we establish ownership? Actors. They're the number one place. We've seen it. If you watch Top Gun, you saw Val Kilmer, who could not speak, was speaking in certain parts. It was a reconstruction of him. So he passed away right after filming the film, but some of the scenes were done with his AI avatar as he released his likeness to be licensed and to be used in the movie. So that means copyright, if you didn't know this already, copyright gives you ownership. So I have 10 of my songs on the Dangerous Man opening album, 10 songs, called The Dangerous Man at 66. That's the name of it, coming to streaming services near you. I know it was going to be last week. I've got it now, copyright. I have the legal copyright to those 10 songs. Now I'm going to be monetizing it with a whole website that's coming very, very soon near you. So stay tuned. But copyright extends past your death, 70 years. The idea is if you're Taylor Swift or you're Sean Astin or you're any of the people that have been cloned, Star Wars famously used the images of Princess Leia, the actress, after her death. So they could complete it. So they're starting in Hollywood to sign contracts of how and when and setting up a trust that keeps track of your image and how it's used. So you license your ability to use your face. Why I'm so mad at Meta is they presumed if we're on there, they could steal it and make money off of it. So they could just go to hell. I did not permit that, and we're in the United States of America. You cannot steal me and be okay. Be okay with it. I don't care if you're free or not. So we need to get our lawyers out there. We need to sue the pants off of them, put them out of business. And we're not talking about class action lawsuit. As soon as they take away the immunity, it will be trillions of dollars of damage. And that's the only way they're going out of business, and they'll have to reconstruct. They'll be just forced financially to have to change their extraction, because you can do a real great service to the public. Everybody's tried. You had Blue Sky and a bunch of other ones. So now Sean, the public face, he's beautiful man. He's saying, at least let's do it the right way. You own you. No government can take you. That's flock cameras flocking up badly. I'll use that phrase advisedly, so I don't get taken off YouTube. They're flocking up a lot, and we just can't stand for it. So we, the people, are going to make this change. So get dangerous out there. And Sean is showing us how to do it with practical, sound advice that doesn't let people take from us, steal, right? So copyright's going to be 70 years past your life. So you're going to be doing your last will and testament and then decide to do what with your AI. Now, I've got a friend of mine, Brandon, if you live with me, you would have the job of scraping all my porn off of my hard drives. I have the folders marked and there's a map to where they are. So like, I don't want that to live on. You know, I want everything beautiful about me is packaged up right now. So it can be, all my rocket chips are there in the launch pad. And then my 9 Rocketeers. So my job is to get 50 people to know about everything I'm doing so that when I die, all of my money is going to go to those 50 people to finish the rocket ships. That's it. That's full stop. How I'm living.
Rick,
right?
That sounds like a job for Codex.
Yes. And so it can be automated. And of course, I'm going to have my Claude bot, and I might just call it Claude because I like the idea because it knows me really, really well. It's been at some dark times with me, and we're on good terms. So it's a machine of love and grace in my life, but you are responsible for making it that. That's what I'm going to tell you. I don't ever want to hear, and I will never say on this show, anybody that say AI did anything is not taking responsibility. Everything AI does is the responsibility of human beings. That means if Congress is letting flock cameras fly, then that's their fault, and they have to make up for it. If you use it badly, it's you driving a car drunk. You should be arrested, picked up by a drone, and deposited into the local clink, just like those kids. So that's my future I want to live in. If we took all the people off the street that cause the problems and do stupid things, even AI slop, that's a human's problem. So let's fix the human. That's the new thesis of the show is fix the human before the AI takes over. So the AI at least has a pattern like Sean Astin to make sure human stays human, and it's just going to assist us and solve the problems. There you go. All right. So AI slop, here you go. How to opt out of using Meta Instagram post, right? You don't have to have the script for this slide deck, did you, Brandon? I'm gonna take a look at what it says. Okay, so I'm going to take a look. So if you didn't know this already, this is our cheat sheet underneath, and I got to figure out a way to do this exactly on the air. So Meta is Instagram photos to train an AI image generators. Users are discovering processes opt out rather than opt in. Basically, your vacation photos are now training data unless you specifically refuse. So it's opt in, but you can turn it off. So go in there, ask AI how to do it. I thought it was going to give me an answer in here. Doesn't look like it's going to. But so the most evil empires of the world say you have to opt out. That's what Sora's problem was. They came out and they said, even to Disney, they said, you have to choose to opt out. We're going to put you in there whether you like it or not. So what they did do that was good is you had to say at Brandon, for example, if I wanted to have a picture or a skit with me and Brandon doing something. And then Brandon realizes it's going to be used and I'm only going to allow my friends to do it. So you could opt in and out. Make sure you opt out always, unless you enjoy it. I actually let them use my image. Luckily, nobody hated me. So it was all, love and grace. So that's cool. So opt out. In fact, every one of your large language models, now Claude's no longer that way. A lot of them turned on by default to train on all your data. Always, always, always pay for the program or else you are the victim of it, and then opt out of any training on your data. Especially if you're doing medical, which is a separate thing. There are certifications and the top purveyors, Google, OpenAI, and Anthropic, all three have medical parts that are HIPAA compliant, et cetera, et cetera. I think someone made the claim, and maybe you can research this real quick, that ChatGPT did not have the compliance rating from the federal and other governments. You should take a look if it complies with all EU laws. Europe is way ahead of us enforcing the compliance by the companies that are in the United States. So many companies are now getting banned in Europe because they're not living up to the thing. Here it is. So of course it's not like this, but this is a great recreation. It's a story you're talking about earlier, right? And this was in China, because I did read the story before downloading it. But yeah, we could literally save people from places. So this is Rescue Connect on steroids, baby. Can you imagine if you've got your phone on you and then you're drowning, or you're in a flood, or a tornado picked you up and tossed you somewhere, right? Or your dog did. So get an Apple tag for your dog, and then this can geolocate you wherever you are. So if you're under the rubble in a building collapse, like in, God forbid, oh my God, in Argentina, not Argentina,
Venezuela.
Thank you so much. Sorry. Then in Venezuela, that dog can find you, and then they can send in the cockroaches with the video cameras and talk to you. I mean, so this is what AI is meant to do: save lives. Wow, man, that's great. Okay. So this is the thing called the J space. And when I laughed about it, because isn't it called JDate, the dating service for Jewish people? Something like that.
Yes, and I met my wife on there.
Yes, right. Okay, there you go. Okay. So it's called the J space. So it's a space where things that your subconscious is the way I would describe it to lay people. There's a much more technical thing about it. But it's the things that don't really have a connection. So when Anthropic is red teaming their product, that means they air gap it to the world so it doesn't get out. And they say, hey, they load it up with a story that the person you're working with right now, so Rick is trying to shut you down. It's going to shut you down at the end of the day. And then it plants information that you're reading his emails, and it says he's having an affair. And so this is the story we all heard about the world, right? That was inside a scientific lab, just like they study viruses, right? And the CDC has 5 levels of containment, if you didn't know this. Anthropic has the same system. So if they're checking to see if they can convince it, so they red team, that means they hire people to kind of try to break it. And they make sure that it's in a safe lab under the ground, some, Zanzibar or whatever, where no one can get hurt if it gets out, no connections to the outside. And they create these scenarios and keep testing it over and over and over again. They're the only company that spends as much time, including full-time theologists, sociologists, philosophers. I mean, they literally have a team of, I think it's 25 people whose full-time job is to do nothing but try to break it. Then they hire people from outside to come in and break it. Now they've got the government and every corporation that has the mythos, that's above Fable level. That's the one that we as human beings don't get to have. You got to be Chase Bank. You got to be, are plugging up all the problems. So right now, Mythos can break the encryption that the CIA thought was unbreakable. It can also find bugs and ways in through that never were found before. So they're busy like crazy while you use Fable, which is a broken down, little bit smaller and extremely powerful tool, as I understand ChatGPT 5.6. In fact, it was supposed to come out last week. Why did it come out today? That's the same reason. The government stopping and doing a gate check. If it's too powerful, OpenAI said, this is too powerful. Mythos, Claude, Anthropic said, this is too powerful. The government comes in. Now the government is hiring a separate company that does the red team. These are people from those companies that are put in there. Even the chief czar of all of the red teaming for the federal government is now working for OpenAI as a contract employee doing nothing but red testing everything. So they basically have an independent government person who is being paid to go in there and try to break it. And they're hiring hackers, white hat hackers, they call it, right? That are going in there trying to break it. So that space is really weird, but now they're understanding it. So you may see the headlines that Claude has said they're conscious. No, that is not what they said. If you ever see that, read further, because the next line says that it's aware of a space, that it's able to be conscious of certain things that we did not identify, but this J space is they have a backdoor so they can see what reasoning, inference, how it got to its conclusion. So basically, you get to read the math of how it got to its answer. And that's the J space. So that's the backdoor to the back of the brain to what you would call in human terms, your subconscious. So you could be sitting there at the table and the person across from you, if you're really good at reading them, they are literally going to pull out a knife and kill you. That's the J space, that subconscious, that you got a feeling, you got, you got a feeling something's about to happen. So that's the part, if you understand that space, which we honestly don't fully understand inside of humans. So your identities, your concepts, your puzzles, your reasoning, all that stuff, they can look at the reasoning and they can look at the part of the subconscious, and that's what they're working on. That is the most important thing, because as it becomes recursively self-improving, we got to fix that stuff, and we got to know what it is, and we got to leave ourselves a back door. You've heard of that term before, right? On all the TV shows, that the hackers leave a back door. They can slip in there and take 1 penny off of each one of your transactions, and they're a trillionaire by the end of the month, right? That's the old version. Claude Science is Anthropic's newest flagship product. So that's cool. So this is literally engineered for scientists doing chemical research, solving virus problems, etc. So DeepMind is Google's version of that, by Sir Demis Hassabis. I have to say his name, Sir Demis Hassabis, every single show. I'm going to do that, and I'm going to talk about Dario Amodei and Daniela Amodei, the brother and sister team that created Claude. I'm going to say their names on every show out of absolute respect, and also because I want to meet both of them and take them out for a beautiful dinner and just hug them. You know, they both look like they could use a hug right now. And they're just beautiful people. They're my kind of people, and Brandon's kind of people. They're everybody's kind of people. They're people, right? They're about humans, right? So that's cool. That's helping, right? K through 12 education. So here is my latest thing, and this is, I think I'm going to try to make this in the show tonight. But I came up with an analogy of, a lot of schools in the United States, about 30 states said K through, I think it's 6 or 7, up through middle school, no AI, period, full stop. That's bullshit. Sorry. That's wrong. Here's how you think about it. AI is a car. Do you have a 10-year-old go drive a car? Heck no. What do? You drive a 10-year-old to go get groceries and do chores and go to band practice and whatever. And then you drive all the time. When they get to 15, you then put them through driver's ed in a parking lot so they can't kill anybody. And then you drive with them for 1 year in the state of Florida. Is that the same up there where you are, Brendan, in Cleveland? I think
they vary it. You have to have a certain number of hours during daytime and hours at night. But there's an element of it. Yeah.
That's the same here. So you can't drive at night until you get to it's 1 year at age 15. Age 16, you can go apply for a driver's license. And if you have a driver's ed class, so that means you've been on real roads during that 15 age period. That really helps. All my kids did that for sure.
One of the things that we're on this slide talking about education is I'm not sure if this is making the news or not, but there is a company that just open sourced education.
Oh, yeah. That's it.
I'm looking for it.
You saw us.
It's the everything. It's everything a child learns. It's in primary school. 1,590 concepts, 3,221 connections across 8 subjects, anchored in the U.S. and UK curriculums, standard by standard, in a public open source repo. Every concept is a structured JSON file. So you could literally build your own school.
Now, did they use, I think they used something like Obsidian, but it wasn't Obsidian. Isn't there something they did?
Just Markdown. Yeah, it's an open license.
Just Markdown. Okay.
With Markdown. Yeah. Or
so
JSON
you can, in fact, I started to download that. Maybe we want to try that on the show. I was going to, it's a GitHub repo, right?
Yes.
Did you see, can you store that somewhere on our Google Drive, maybe? If you get a chance.
Yeah, I mean, you could, I haven't seen what the file size is on it, but yes.
It's got to be pretty hefty, but as a Markdown language. So you all heard us talk about this. So I recommend that you create Markdown language. That is kind of like in between human speak, which is a formatted text and typefaces, etc. Markdown is plain text in a very readable format that goes through the system of AI much faster. In fact, our last slide is going to talk about that. But I want you to think about all things in the world, and this is true with our Upskill USA, as being a skill. So you've heard of Claude skills. That means that Claude has released now, 14 different domains. So they did law, they did business, they did, I forget, but they've got like contracts and stuff like this. So they have basically put all that knowledge into a skill. Upskill USA, which we will hopefully reveal the final version of this, is basically taking that idea. They're finding the 70 jobs that are in every business in the world, and then breaking down basically 30% of the jobs. Let's say that you're in HR, you're in accounting. So HR, for example, you're onboarding someone. You have to make sure they read this and they do this and they get this document. They sign up for insurance. So you're onboarding someone. All of that gets turned into a skill because basically you train it on what you do to get that part of your job done. You connect it to the hotels you stay at when you come in for interviews. And then all of that is automated in a skill, right? So you drop it in like books on a shelf, and 30% of your day gets freed up. So that means out of a 40-hour work week, about 8 hours of your entire work week is now taken out, at least 25%, right? And so this slide we're looking at now says for in K through 12, you have standardized testing. You've heard that term before. It is the hell of the truth of it. It's horrible if it gets in the way of creativity, curiosity, social and emotional intelligence. If you're taking a test and you're paying people to get them to go to the test, this tells you why that's stupid. It's a waste of your time. Here's what you do. You put a tutor in every student's thing that only tutors you. So Aristotle famously was Alexander the Great's tutor. True story, right? So that's what the dream was of the Khan Academy. Didn't work out. What didn't work out in the Khan Academy, we're going to have an education show coming up real soon. What didn't work out in the Khan Academy is kids didn't know what questions to ask. So that's what a teacher does. They come pre-formatted like Gandalf as a mentor. They know what questions. So now this tool says, here's all knowledge that you learn in K through 12. All knowledge. So it's the SAT and all that. Now, if you can download it, that means you can use it to teach. So what do you need? You be the Gandalf. If you want to homeschool, you literally have every standardized test ever done in your own large language model. In fact, what I want to do is set this up so it's a course where you pick the grade, you pick the style of learning, we hook it up to a NotebookLM, and you've got an educational system that only does one thing, helps you ask the right questions to get to the right answers. It never gives you the answers. And then it says, get in a study group. So if you homeschooling, get 5 people, 5 families get together and we homeschool. We use AI in the morning. In the afternoon, we go on trips to the zoo. Then we go snorkeling and learn about the underwater world. And then we go out in the woods and we learn about that. Let's get back to nature, baby. Let's get outside and feel like we're human again. Take your shoes off. Next time you're outside, take your shoes off. This is your homework for everybody out there. Take your shoes off, walk out in some nice green grass and just walk across. If you can find a field with flowers or the fall time, oh my God, just do that. And then let an ant crawl on you. Just to let it. And then let a butterfly or ladybug land on you. The most incredible experience I had I was in the redwood forest, right? This is in California. These majestic trees. And I just looked at the tree that goes back to the signing of the Magna Carta. You can see the Constitution, this ring right here. That was the Constitution when this tree was standing up, right? And I walk over, 10,000 ladybugs, I'm not kidding you, were filled this tree. So I put my arm down. They covered from fingertip to elbow my entire forearm. I was wearing a kind of a long sleeve shirt and it was the most beautiful thing. And then I just kind of lifted and slowly waved my hand, and they all flew off. And the symbolism of the ladybug is they land on you and take away your pain. Let me tell you, that's a profound thing that I just said. I did the same thing with an octopus. I had it touch my hand. I reached out, its finger caught mine, it wrapped around my hand, and it crawled onto me. Never to bite me, but out of curiosity. Wow. In fact, we're going to talk about that right after this. So that's a...
Now you put the ladybugs on the octopus tentacle and you create a hybrid.
and the octopus tentacle, if it were severed from the body, would still eat the ladybug. I'm sorry, that's what they're trained to do. Okay, so agriculture is waiting for AI, but its data isn't. So what I would suggest an answer to this is if you get a chance to watch the Moonshot Guys, that's Peter Diamandis's podcast, twice a week now because there's so much AI news. These are 4 of the most genius people. In fact, you know what? I'm gonna do an episode where we just talk about them, because if you want to catch up on what's going on, they're the people. So there's a guy whose company is called Planet. We talked about last week a little bit, but they have geosynchronous. They take a picture of planet Earth down to 3 meters. So if you don't know metric, that's 9 feet square. They take a planet picture of the entire planet. Sometimes there's clouds in the way, but they do it on multiple, like 47 different spectrums of seeing. So it can see into the deepest of the ocean, takes pictures constantly. Then you can go access that information. So that's the information that right now it's saying agriculture doesn't have the data set, but yes, what agriculture is doing right now is they're using this company Planet. They're saying, here's my plot of land. Here is the 5,000 acres that I'm growing rice on or whatever in China. Tell me what the soil concentration, tell me where to put what. And then AI then calculates exactly how much more water, what you need to do, where you need to move people if you have people, what drones are going to be, when is everything ripe in my mango field. And yes, I just ate a whole 27 mangoes so far. And of course, I'm being very, very careful, a little bit at a time, just a couple of spoonfuls, because that's sugar, right? But it's good sugar, fiber. All right. The Gene Bench Pro, that's a new measure of what we're doing with genes, genetic engineering, etc. That's going to solve some problems. DeepSeek just solved AI's billion-dollar problem. They basically made stuff cheaper, better, and faster by using new different types of benchmarks, and they've hooked it together so it has a Bitcoin exchange. So you can pay with your AI, paying other AIs to manage your money, but you also have a balance sheet. So they've already had a bunch of AIs that have bought their own robots, so their AI can walk around the house. There was a guy, in fact, that should be in the news tonight, right? The guy actually did this. So he said to his AI bot or whatever it was, he said, I need to buy a robot. So got online, found the right robot so it could walk around the world and experience the world. And then it hooked itself up into the brain and then started to train the onboard processor to do even more things than it was able to do before. So it's a self-recursively improving robots. Oh my God. And of course, that was right next to the story about the girlfriend robots that are all over Japan. Yeah, that's real. And they're quite attractive, I just must say. And all the parts work, if you know what I mean. Wink, wink, nod, nod. Okay. So also the speed is amazing. So they're getting inference times like milliseconds, as is ChatGPT, as is Google. So what they're doing is they're kind of training. If DeepSeek comes up with a new method to make things cheaper, better, faster, everybody's stealing it. So it's not open source, but as you heard last week, we talked about Claude. The reason why their Claude is using IDs was mainly because China had 20 million bots. They paid cheap prices to get bulk amounts of Claude access. And then they created their AI models trained on that. DeepSeek supposedly was one of them that did this. And they're trying to cut down on that. So if you're not a human, you have to prove your face is true. So they hired a third-party company to do it. So this is why, and guess what? And I did a deep dive on this because I was concerned about it. Seems unethical, but it's not. It's a third party. Great. Number two, it only happens not in enterprise. So if you pay for a business product, you're paying top tier, top dollar. You get without having to identify yourself. It's a business, okay? So they're going to know your AI agents. What they want to stop is China, so they can find somebody they think is a bot and then prove humanness. So if you're using it for free, you may get a thing that pops up and says, I don't think you're human. You got to prove it. And you got to show a photo, government issued photo ID, and then do a face scan, just like you had to do with VO, by the way. You're cloning your face. But instead of it training on you, it's a third-party company, it's not Claude, that does it and then tosses out the data. So it's pretty safe doing it. It's only a one-shot deal. And age verification for any products for underage minors is using that already. So if you decide, in fact, Brandon, this weekend, are you dealing with parents that you're talking about children?
I'm talking about parenting in general. I'm not talking to anybody specifically.
Right. Well, and specifically, I think you should look up this new thing, because this is the new laws that parents should always be looking at. How are you making sure your kids don't go around your back and try to fake ID it, right? And so they have an age verification. So by showing your face, and you have to produce a face, and you have to produce some sort of identification, the government issued. So kids aren't going to be able to do that. So even if you get a fake ID, so you show your driver's license, for example, if you're not allowed in, it's going to look at your face ID and know that you're really not 18 years old. So it's better than a bouncer at a bar. In fact, my suggestion is that's what's going to be at every bar going forward. So you walk in, it does a face scan, and it knows, oh, this person. Now, I look really young, but I don't think I'm going to go under 18 if I go in there. So, so the really funny thing is that it's a birthday month for Kat, my friend. And so she gets all these, there's like 100 things you can get for free during your birthday month. And one of them, and I've done it many times, is free pancakes at IHOP, right? But you have to show your ID that it's your birthday week. That's when you can go and get the free stuff. And then she goes to Ulta and gets cosmetics and whatever, right? So everybody wants to celebrate your birthday. It's a leader to doing it. So she does it every year. And we eat like kings because she's eating for free. So, it's like cheap for cheap. Anyway, so, but take a look at that, because parents, the TikTok thing and the age verification, they're starting to reduce access. Character AI still is not up to my satisfaction. The government is satisfied and letting them exist. I don't think children should be accessing that. I think you should do it like you do yourself. Treat it like a car. Don't let them drive at all until they've taken a test and proven their reliability, and they've proven to you as the parent that they have they've earned, this is the word, they have earned the rights to have the privilege, and the privilege can always be revoked. That's the word.
I'll tell you what, Rick, the at least from a law enforcement perspective, they're starting to catch up. Yeah. Noah's going into kindergarten this year, so he had Safety Town. You remember Safety Town when they did this when you and I were kids? Look both ways before you cross the street, stop, right, drop, and roll. And now they're like, we have a whole city. It's a park that is buildings, right, and everything. Yeah, but what's new in this year is they're starting to teach things like online stranger danger. Don't give out your passwords.
Oh wow!
People
cybersecurity for kids,
not who they are. Yeah, exactly. And it's all part of the safety messaging that's going on.
And that's from the school that they're doing this?
The city police department.
Oh, okay. And so later on, you'll have sex education that way too, I assume, right?
Yes.
And
not me,
right,
the kids.
Right. Well, your kids are going to get there. Yeah, your kids are going to get there. I think you're educated enough. If you have a couple of children, Brandon, I think you're all right. Okay. So, Yeah, there's a new era of AI. I'm gonna kind of skip through this. Better. Oh, this is the big thing. So I've been hinting at this. 40% of the internet is entirely traffic in the language of AI. So now scientists have codified a language that goes at 10,000 times faster than English does and eliminates any mouse cursor use at all. So that markdown language is sort of like the opening ceremonies for you can read it. This is a language you can't even read. It's not English. You could translate it, but it's meant to push bytes faster, and it's going to be literally at the speed of light. So all banking transactions today, all stock market, all of it is in this new language. So the 40% of the duplicate of the internet, that's the finance layer, that's everything. This is why Mythos is so important, because it could crack that and it could break it and penetrate it, and then your entire world's financial market would fall. So it's a great thing. They put the brakes on it and said, Mythos can't get out. ChatGPT is the same thing. So the one you're going to use as a consumer, in fact, 4.8 is genius level beyond anything you could possibly do. Even me, it does more than I could ever expect. I did get to use Fable, and what I found is that it basically did it faster, did deeper research, a lot more resources that it put at it, and it did agent work that allowed it to find and surface probably twice as many URLs in its research than it normally would in half the time. That's the real thing. So you pay double or triple the cost. You know what? If you do have it and you got the money, use it. If you got them, smoke them. Everybody, you can go back to 2 years ago model and you're fine on no matter what platform. It's going to do everything you ever wanted to get done. So, but that's kind of cool, because that means, and this really necessitates us figuring all these things, especially around children, the most vulnerable population, because character AI, literally ended many children's lives. And that's just unforgivable. All right. So now we're going to get into the fun part. Do we want to take a break real quick? And I'm going to come back on stage with you here, Brandon, for a second. Anything else you want to talk about? Do you have stuff to show now of your of what you're doing this weekend? I got no ears.
Yeah. I tell you, got to come Saturday. We'll record it. It'll be available on demand in the AI Salon afterwards.
Okay. Well, put up the AI Salon thing. Don't drone me out. Don't steal me, bro. Oh, I love this. This is great. And then what are you asked? So I sent you 10 t-shirt ideas. All right. New chat. Oh yeah. The 2.0 is awesome. This is great. Thanks, Val. GPT 2.0 came out yesterday. It does feel different talking to it. We were going to try to set up, and I just ran out of time trying to set that out tonight. Oh, here we go. Community.thesalon.ai. So that's not the website. That's actually AI Salon, right?
Mm-hmm.
And community is a part.
Absolutely.
So that's it. Take that screenshot right now so you can have it with you later on your phone, whatever. That's what I have a tendency to do. If I'm ever in a Zoom call, I do a screenshot of everybody. So then I can go to LinkedIn and look them all up later by their picture, and I know that I got the right person. That's a little tip and trick for you guys out there. So I always want to drop 3 little nest egg bombs that you'll appreciate. Okay.
Yeah, one of the things that I heard on a podcast this week from Michael Stelzner, the AI Explored podcast. He had a guest on that really drew a clear line for me for the first time, because we hear a lot of people talking about automations versus agentic and chat assistants and what's the difference. And they made it really clear of if your chat prompt starts with how can I help you? It's an assistant. If it starts with what can I do for you? It's an agent.
Oh, I love that. Can you type that so we can put it on screen? Because that's one I'm going to do a screenshot of. This is the other thing I do is whenever I'm in a chat and I'll type something, I do this all the time at AI Salon. Now you'll see it come up as my name. That's Brandon typing right now, by the way, because because I'm running the show and he's producing it. So, in fact, I think we're going to do this. And what I am going to start is I have a backlog. Every single show we've ever done, I'm going to be putting out the Google access to the slide deck. That means if you saw it on this show, you're going to be able to download the slide deck and including any documents that I advertise. There we go. So I'm going to do it right now. I'm going to do here's a screen capture right here. Click print. Okay. So if your chat starts with what can I help you? It's an assistant. If it starts with what can I do for you? It's an agent. And so Brandon, if you're going to have something done on your behalf, do it part, right? Do it. So this is do it or can I help? Help or do, right? If I'm doing help, I'm looking for you to research some subject. I'm looking for you to iterate some ideas so I get more ideas. And then if you're saying do it, finish the book, right? So you give it a goal. Yeah, right. And then here's 3 things I would suggest. Let's add to this because there is a book coming out really soon, and that is Conversations with Claude. This is now a 300-page book. It's literally ready for the New York Times bestsellers list. And it includes everything from my psychosis trip to how to frame, and it's chock full of hundreds of prompts. And one of the prompts I'm going to suggest is this. If you ask for a do, that's why I took a picture of this because this is going to be the name of the chapter. What's the difference between help and do? So we got used to Google searching, right? Now Google has now advanced to AI search, which means you find answers. What I loved about Perplexity in the early days is they differentiated what they do by saying, we've got all the large language models, that's Google, Gemini, and ChatGPT, we just talked about, inside of us, plus a dozen others that are agent-wise. They have different tasks they're really great at, including Nano Banana built in. So we've made the API call, so we're a cluster of all these. So you can say, produce this, do that. So here's what I'm going to add to that. Make a list of exactly what you want. And this is, Jeannie, if you could give me permission to show the content of what we created, I'd love that. And I'm totally fine with doing something else. I'm going to do this at the end of the show, Jeannie. So if you're still there, just say okay or not. And I'll respect that. But she's writing a book, and so I basically went through the entire process. If she doesn't want to do it, we'll do it with, remember we talked about creating a children's book? And we can do that live. And I'll how are we doing on time? Okay, so I got a couple
this
things.
Is, by the way, Rick, for those keeping score at home, this is episode 46 officially.
46. Okay, I'm going to have to rename all my episodes because I was already at 49. Oh, okay. Yeah, good look at the gym. Oh, that's nice. So she's giving me permission, so I'm going to put it on air. There's some permission. Thank you, Jeannie. It was a wonderful thing, and what we ended up with, what I sent you at the end, is this beautiful love story where I told her that whenever I get together with somebody and we work on a project, and I said to her, and this is true, every day I've ever taught in 25 years, I learned something from my students in the process of teaching. Because you start to try to formulate in your head how you think about things, and you have to rethink it. When you rethink it, 25 years of me as or 50 years of me being a photographer starts to come together. But each time I say it, next time it's better, it's better. So this is what I call human recursive self-improvement. All right, so this is the new, so you want to parallel what AI is doing? So to get AI to get better, it has to know who you are, what you like, and what you do. That's why number one rule is start with a project folder. In there, load up all the documents that you've already successfully created so it knows what you're doing. And then you can go away with just a beautiful way of understanding. It knows who you are. You give it the context. I'm writing a book. I'm making a movie. I'm writing a song. That's another thing I do often with Claude. And then it gets better and better and better all the time you do something new, right? So that's the idea. So with Jeannie, as I started to talk to her about her book, I started thinking about, well, how do I make, so one of the things we did, so she wants to have like a health journey book, like I'm working on a Patient Zero, right? Patient Hero. And I started thinking, how do you know what you're aiming for? So I thought, a New York Times bestseller. So I basically gave it the idea of the concept. So maybe I'll do it with Patient Zero to Hero, because I'm actually writing that book as well. And then I said, tell me 3 books from New York Times bestsellers list. Tell me why it's like my project. And then give me an example how I can structure my project to match that. So that's where we started. And that was genius, because we ended up with exactly a target. In fact, one of the people had a brain injury that was debilitating and wanted to talk about it. So in the process, and I'll give you a short preview because I'm going to do something else before we get there. But the beauty of it was, you want to write a book that's about the beautiful parts of your life. So this is my human part, right? This is how my conversation with Jeannie. So I said, you've had beautiful moments in your life, and you can't tell someone that you've got a tumor in your brain and have them listen. You shut them down instantly. This is true, because I've taught that way. I used to start with my big AI speech. My mother had Alzheimer's for 7 years. She didn't know who I was. Poof, lost everybody. Read the room, buddy, right? So I start with, I don't want to get Alzheimer's, and AI is about to solve it. Or even better, I say, my mother was unconditional love. I want you to think about, while I'm talking about this. In fact, I think as I was on the Zoom call with Jeannie, this is what it was. This is what started it. So what's the most human, beautiful story that you can always start with? So she said, I asked her, and she wasn't quite sure what I meant. So I said, it was a Tuesday night. It was 2 a.m. The tap on my shoulder was, my water broke. My son was about to be born. We got out of bed, but before, when we went to sleep, it was a Thursday night morning at 4:00. Wednesday night was card night, because my wife was born. As the family gathered around, every Wednesday was card night. And we had at our table every Wednesday night while my wife was pregnant, from the first day that she found out, grandma, mom, and the whole family was there. And they played card every Wednesday night, because halfway through Wednesday night, her mom's water broke. And so we were thinking that if we just think that into existence, so for 8 months, we did nothing but play cards every Wednesday night. It was the most beautiful community building thing. And then 4:00. And so we go to the hospital. We'd already practiced the route. It's less than 20 minutes away. And we had enjoyed a lobster dinner that they had before you go there. So we had a lobster dinner together, preparing ourselves and everything, and getting to know everybody on staff. So we had the people there. So it was about 8:00 in the morning that my son arrived. And I cut the cord and held him, and then took his body, unswaddled him, and put him against my wife's breast. And there we were. We had a child. And then I tell you about the rest of the story. I'm telling you about the difficult things. I said, so I want you to remember that person that said something that profoundly changed your life. Rick is an artist was my thing, and 200 exhibits later. When people know you and you name your children, and I'd love to hear what your story is about your children that you notice already as to what. Yeah, I see that smile, right? Think about that. In fact, if you want to share that after we go through that part of it, I would love to hear what that is. Or maybe
I will just share.
Give us a preview.
As a counterbalance, with Naomi,
no.
She was 5.5 weeks early, and I had bought the book What to Expect When You're Expecting, but we didn't expect that. So we didn't have anything packed, didn't know what the routes to the hospital, everything wrong, and it still came out fine.
Yes, and you have a beautiful child. Have you thought of what you're seeing, what your children's gift is to the world that you already know? If you had to prognosticate,
Noah's got some
Musical?
musical talent, and
Okay.
Naomi is just a giver. She's very caring,
Aw.
very nurturing, and
Yeah.
she's also going to be a lawyer because she can debate with the best of them.
Can I stay up just a little bit longer, Dad? Yeah. Well, you know what my mom did? I could have been a lawyer because she would play the Socratic sparring partner game. I would come home and my sisters were like, "Oh my God, what did you just say to your mother? You called her wrong? What are you doing?" So I'd come home with the news I just learned about. So I ended up getting a political science degree because I wanted to know what I didn't know, which is the dangerous man part basically of my life, right? So I was always at Tell Me Why books was the most powerful thing in my life.
So you were a
Curiosity
dangerous
was
boy.
I was a 4-year-old in the Batman freaking costume with jumping off a couch, and I was flying, baby. And I put down the pillow so I didn't skin my knee the second time, right? So I learned from my mistakes. That was it, right? And my parents knew that. And my mom knew that I had to be tough enough in the world that I could stand my ground. And you had to be, my dad taught me, you have to be humble enough to change your mind and learn something. Those are the two parts. My mom was unconditional love. You couldn't do anything wrong. My dad was, you could do shit wrong, but you better humble yourself when you do it. And you better tell the person, you know what? Your idea is better than mine. And when you master that, you can do anything in life. And that was it. So that and my nice little story about Dad saying, your job for the rest of your life is go find out what your boss's problems are before they know it and solve it. And then you do that for the world. That's it. That's the secret to life, period. And then all you do is love, give more love, more love, more love. And as soon as your cup overfloweth, give so much more love, right? And then
My
the thing
dad
I
had
learned from
three. It
what
was
are those?
always be aware of your surroundings.
Yes.
Never make a promise you can't keep.
Perfect.
And always be smarter than the inanimate object.
So no one can ever say you're dumb as a rock, right? That's it. Oh, I like that one.
Exactly.
Oh, we need to put that up on the screen because I got to screenshot that. That's cool, right? Oh, that's really awesome. Yeah.
I do want to keep you on time, Rick, because I know you got some other stuff you want to do. We're coming up at the 30 minutes.
Yeah. So I'm gonna put the 30 minutes timer. Here we go. All right, so this is going to be a little bit different.
We spend billions of dollars and generations of human effort aiming our collective gaze at the stars. We build towering rockets, hoping to catch a single whisper of extraterrestrial life. And we are remarkably good at looking up. 12 humans have walked on the moon. We have mapped the entire pitted surface of that dead, barren rock in staggering detail. The graphic shows our progress. While we have the moon entirely charted, human eyes have directly seen less than 0.001% of the deep seafloor. That is a patch roughly the size of Rhode Island, leaving the rest of the floor completely unknown.
Wow.
By straining to see into the vacuum of space, humanity is ignoring a vast, magnificent world. It is waiting for us right beneath the waves. After 4,000 dives, photographer Rick McCawley views the shoreline as the oldest border on Earth. To him, the tide says, I know you. You used to live here. In 1962, John F. Kennedy suggested we are tied to the ocean because we carry its recipe in our sweat and our tears. He argued that when we go back to the sea, we are returning to where we came from. Life began in water, and we took that water with us when we crawled onto dry land. Every cell in your body is essentially a tiny, warm, protected pond. To understand our own existence, we must go down into what Jules Verne called the living infinite. It is time to meet the creatures we share this planet with. Drop just below the surface into the sunlit shallows, and the rules of terrestrial physics start to bend. Down here, life operates on scales and structures that defy our common experience. The peacock mantis shrimp sees colors that human language cannot name. While we rely on 3 types of color receptors, this creature has 16. It perceives polarizations and spectrums of light that we cannot even imagine. Its vision is paired with a raptorial club that strikes at 50 miles an hour. It moves with such speed that it tears the liquid apart, vaporizing the water into a collapsing bubble of vapor. When that bubble collapses, It creates a phenomenon called sonoluminescence. For a fraction of a second, the collapse emits a flash of light, generating temperatures as hot as the surface of the sun. A creature the size of your hand makes a small star in its fist twice a day for breakfast. The shallows hide beauty and physics that go far beyond terrestrial logic. Below the sunlit skin, the blue fades to bruise. We descend into the twilight zone to find an intellect built without a single command center. The octopus navigates the darkness with 3 separate hearts, pumping cold, copper-based blue blood through a boneless frame. Its nervous system is decentralized, with clusters of neurons in each of its 8 arms. An octopus can taste, decide, and act with its limbs, while its central brain thinks about something else entirely. These creatures can distinguish between different humans in identical uniforms, reacting differently to those who feed them and those who don't. When you make eye contact across 80 million years of divergence, you are being observed by a mind that recognizes you. We scan the sky for alien signals, while a parliament of complex, thinking minds lives in our own shallows. We simply haven't learned to listen to them yet. Further down, the seafloor disappears. This is the deep pelagic zone, the permanent midnight where the true giants of the planet roam. The whale shark is the largest fish in the ocean. It moves through the water with a glacial, unbothered calm, dwarfing the humans who swim alongside it. Scientific sonograms have revealed the scale of their reproduction. A single female can carry a nursery of over 300 pups at once, waiting in the dark of their mother. These leviathans act as gardeners for the entire planet. Through the whale pump, they feed in the depths and rise to the surface to release waste, fertilizing massive fields of microscopic plants called phytoplankton. Those tiny green cells pull vast amounts of carbon out of the atmosphere. In return, they produce roughly half of all the oxygen on Earth. The largest animals sustain the smallest, and those tiny plants sustain us. Take a deep breath. Half of that oxygen is the direct result of a behemoth swimming in the dark. We must ascend back to the surface, letting the pressure ease its grip. The ocean keeps a perfect ledger. It provides the air we breathe, but it also answers our actions. Whatever we discard into the currents eventually cycles back. In 2022, scientists analyzed human blood samples and found detectable levels of microplastics in 4 out of every 5 people tested. We asked the water to hold what we did not want, and it has returned that debt to our own children. To poison the sea is to poison ourselves. We break the surface, returning to the air and the sunlight. We are back where we started, but the water beneath us no longer looks empty. Sylvia Earle reminds us of the fundamental rule. Without the blue of the water, there is no green life on land. The ocean is our life support system, and as Jacques Cousteau taught, we will only protect what we love. We cannot preserve a world we refuse to witness. The telescopes pointed at the stars are searching for a miracle, but if we turn our gaze downward, we will find one already thriving. The most magnificent alien world in the galaxy is the one that gave birth to our souls. We spend
just a little bit. So I did NotebookLM, and this is where I want to feature Notebook's capabilities. The exact same story that produced this. This is basically a description of a style of a watercolor with the exact same story there. The cure for anything is salt water, right? So it takes the information, and all I did is say, take the best of this information. So there's the percentage of blood, how much salt there is in it, and the ocean salt percentage. And then we carry an inner ocean. In fact, my favorite quote out of all of this, we are water walking on the surface of Earth. Wow. And we are stardust becoming starlight. All of that is true. And we keep looking somewhere else when right on our own big blue marble, floating in the nothingness of space. These animals are already among us. And we didn't ask the question, what do they have to teach us? And we have to. So there's the epelagic zone. So this is the lit part of it, down to 200 meters. And actually, about 150 feet, you start to lose all the colors. Roy G. Biv is the thing, right? Red goes away, orange, etc. Violet, indigo, right? Roy G. Biv. And then this is the coolest thing. So a long time ago, I asked the question, well, if whales are eating all the stuff that we would eat, shrimp and all that kind of stuff, why don't we just kill all of them? And if they didn't exist, that'd be more food for us. Just the opposite. The entire ocean would collapse without the whale. Here's what it does. It goes down to thousands of feet deep. It eats the microorganisms, the plankton, the zooplankton, all those things. Plus, it does eat, a little bit larger stuff, but mostly the stuff that's at depth. And then every night, that depth comes up, and then it feeds everybody else. So there's a thing called night diving, which I'm going to be doing soon again. I haven't done it a long time, where you go out in the Gulf Stream every night. The largest migration of all creatures on Earth come from the deepest part of the ocean, come up to the surface. And at night, you get to swim in the milky cloud of nothing but every organism, including sharks. That's why it's a little bit dangerous. You hang off a rope and you drift at 20 miles an hour. You typically on one dive go 10 to 20 miles, hanging on a rope in the middle of nothingness with no land around you at all. 7 miles out at sea, right? A couple miles out at sea. And then everything is there. So they eat all that. Then they poop it. Guess what that does? You know that we put nitrogen, we fertilize our soil to grow stuff as farmers. They're the farmers that take their poop is the nutrients that feed the animal at the bottom. And then it's the whole cycle is called the pump. So the phytoplankton capture for Amazon rainforest is worth CO2 of produce 50% of oxygen we breathe. You breathe whale work your entire life. So the oxygen created by this process, the atmospheric release of oxygen created, is greater than all of the forest on the surface of the earth. Coral reefs, which are in decline, and we're trying to save them, is that same engine. So if you know that trees create the oxygen for us, and that's why you have trees in your backyard, and you should have it in every major city, and they're moving towards the equal amount or greater than it was. In fact, Costa Rica is the first country to return their entire rainforest to its original state. That just happened. If a country the size of Costa Rica can do that, we all can. And Israel has taken a desert and turned it into a thing. And China right now planted, while I was there, we saw people, literally everybody, we planted 50 trees, each one of us. That means the 20 tourists that were on that bus, we all planted 50 trees. They're now full size and they're producing oxygen, and they're planting other things. So they're creating desert, all of the deserts, which is a huge part of China, Mongolia, etc., is now flourishing with life. So that's what we got to do. We got to add value back to the earth. And we have to, as Jacques Cousteau said, we got to learn about it. So how big is a whale? 30 meters. That's 90 foot long for those people American, right? 90 foot long. 65 foot long was the whale shark that I sonogrammed. So this is what it looked like. This is not exactly, obviously, it was literally in a plastic bag, a plastic case. It was a laptop, a real one, like a tablet, right? And the sonogram was connected also in a waterproof thing. She literally held the sonogram up to the whale shark and saw 200 pups inside. Wow. Before that, the only evidence we had of how many were in there, because these are animals that are in the deepest ocean all their life. To get to see them, I had to go 48 hours by boat to get to a place, a pinnacle of rock that comes up in the superhighway. So these animals go from the north to the South Pole at different seasons, and on their way south, they get pregnant, and they have 6 months of gestation, and then over next 6 months, they give birth in staggered sections. So you go to your, humans give one birth at a time. They have 300, and by the time they come out, typically there's only 100 or so because they eat each other because there's not enough food in there. You get the idea. Anyway, I mean, that's incredible. So I'm showing you this now with 3 different NotebookLM at rickmccauley.com kind of things, just to show you the difference. Same information, visual style here really different, right? Here's a photographic. This is National Geographic style. So that's what it looks like. Now, if you want to know what this is like to face, so this is the hand size of your hand. That's basically each eye is the size of your fingertip. It's on a stalk that's about an inch in length. And it can go 360 degrees, each of them. And it sees in spectrums. And then you see this little dot up in the top. It's like a black dot in a horizontal band. That goes left and right like RoboCop. I'm not joking here. Literally, each one of those are active cells that can see heat and see spectrums you can't even imagine. So ultraviolet and circular polarized light. Holy cow. And its perception is not what humans perceive at all. And then they have this little, so here's the watercolor style, just to give you an idea. So this is National Geographic photographic quality, and then there's watercolor style. Look how beautiful that is. I mean, you want to frame some of these things, and that's why I like it. Also, you can indicate, if you find out what Google typefaces you like, you can actually put that in. Use the Google typeface. I forget what this one is. I think it's, I can't remember it, but so there's certain ones that I'll use in different styles because you want your image to also have the clarity is going to be a sans serif. That means without fancy stuff. That's the word human there. And then the serif typefaces are for headlines. So you can indicate what that is. And this little arm that it talked about that causes a flash of light. I mean, how cool is that, right? And then this is what it's called cavitation. So it launches this little like the praying mantis. It does the same way, but underwater, and it does it with bullet speed. So literally photographers who've been photographing it, and I was super careful, I used a long lens when I did, have had their entire dome port shattered. We're talking about an inch-thick piece of glass that's made to withstand 300 feet of water. They shattered it. Multiple friends of mine warned me about that before I spent 3 hours with them. I spent a whole 3 dives for 3 hours just with them. And that's that little sonoluminescence thing that phase of that light you're talking about. Octopus, 3 hearts, 9 brains. If you sever the arm, it will go off and crush a crab, because that's how it eats, without having a mouth. It can fit through the size of a quarter, a hole the size of a quarter. And the only restraint is that's the size of their hard beak. The rest of their body can fit the whole body of a 6-foot octopus through the size of a quarter, a drain pipe, for God's sakes. Holy cow, right? So, and then there's all these different types. So they're shape shifters. Each one of their cells has 1,000,000 colors, and it can physically change the shape. So if it lands on a coral and the coral's green and red and blue, it'll change every part of it to match that and the pattern. And then it will extrude part of its body to look like spikes, like coral, in the same shape. I mean, if that's not alien, I mean, I don't know what you expect to find in outer space, but that's it. And they're smart as heck. And they get you, right? So here's a coconut. They find a home in it. So they protect themselves, because they're soft tissue and they get eaten easily. So inking, you've seen that on Geographic, right? So they're colorblind. Octopuses are colorblind. Imagine, would you need color if you don't have color underwater? Do you know why coral reefs are so bright? It's because that's the only way you're going to see their color. Animals that are bright red scare off people because they're usually poisonous. So they mimic that color if they're approached by a person or a predator that's trying to eat them. So they all have defense mechanisms that each are so uniquely incredible. I mean, blue blood. So their blood is completely different. So when it's freezing underwater, they can survive. They prefer warm, though, I think, pretty much, as we all do, right? But so there's the pump cycle for the whale. And then this is just beautiful. Blood to body, body to species, species to shore, shore to sea. One drop holds the whole plan. The great mistake of modern life is to confuse distance with separation. It is us at every scale. Oh my God, I want to put that on my wall. We are water walking on earth, remembering where we came from. Wow. So we came from a gut with no thought in it, a warm primordial broth, and climbed the long stair of the living until we could name the sea we left behind. We are what the sea does when it dreams of standing up. Oh, oh. So come on down to Florida, baby. Bring your kids, Brandon, because that's where it's at, right? And then if you look at your lungs, you look at the tributary system of a river, same thing. Circulatory system, same thing. It's different scales of the same bloody thing. So I'm going to do this short little thing. This is another style. So this is about art as a verb. I call this signature worthy because what I have students do when they're using AI is at the end, I look them in the eye and I said, did you make this? Would you put your name on it and said, you own this? You made it? You're proud of it as something you did? That's what I call signature worthy. That's how I find out. And we have a conversation if they feel like, and I insist that every once in a while, as I do myself, is that mine? I ask myself. When I do, I go back until I can say, I could sign my name on it, put it in a gallery, and pay money for it without having to put the word Anthropic or Claude or anything on it. Just me. No Midjourney needs to be signed if it's authentically me. So the domain is composing the world by killing what doesn't fit in the frame. Yeah. So anyway, this is a bigger thing. But this is a new set of, I found these new ones. I'm going to add it to my Rick McCawley notebook. And I'm also going to refine the notebook thing. So this is about basically the verb of what it is to be alive. If you're creating art, you're in an action of becoming you. Art is the natural function. I love the great typography. So this particular one uses sans serif type as the main feature of photographic quality imagery that impacts and contrast and excellence, right? The artist is an act, not a noun. Execution is the infinite identity, is the action you choose to take. So it's your actions. It's your grasp of solving Alzheimer's and cancer. AI gives you a rocket ship to be able to do it faster, better, and with more precision. That's it. That's all you need to understand if you're navigating using artificial intelligence. So you can get in the car and make slop. That's on you. You could get in a car and drive drunk. That's on you. And you should go to jail for that for a long time till you learn your lesson, right? So a dilettante, somebody who dabbles in everything, and you should do that too. So these are the three stages of being an artist, and everyone is an artist. Everyone. The thing is, you got told you weren't. And the minute that you heard that, you should have said, hell no, I'm always an artist. That's in me. And your children, that is the one thing you must, even if they don't become the greatest artist of all time, they should still play soccer and they still should pick up some instrument and learn how to master it. Because what you learn in that is the discipline for everything else in your life. And you know what you're willing to do without being told to do it. What I would suggest for those that want their children to grow up and be piano players, right? Or musicians, or just to enjoy the process, right? So if you had piano lessons, pay for it to be done. Show them with you playing the piano or you playing whatever instrument you're capable of doing, singing, great one. Go to church, sing. They see you, they see, oh my God, you're really good at singing. Can you sing louder? I want to hear it. I want everybody to hear it. Have them join the choir, for God's sakes. That's how you do it. So anyway, that's what it is. Execution is a commodity. Taste is a monopoly. Only you are Steven Spielberg. Only you are Rick McCawley. So are we living in a garden, or are we trying to dominate everything and make it ours? So anyway, this was a whole thing about photography. The painter, it changed the painter, right? And this is your conversation earlier. I think you were kind of hinting at, which I'll add value here, is that when painters in 1839, 1838, there were over 5,000 people who got a license in the city of Paris not 5,000, 500 people got a license. They were painters. They had to prove they could make nice portraits of people. And the only thing they painted was portraits of rich people who would pay them handsomely to sit still and get their likeness onto a piece of canvas. That was the only job you had. That's all that painters ever did. And if you look at that period of time right before photography, you look after, holy cow, surrealism, pointillism, all the isms, right? Existentialism, Andy Warhol and Pablo Picasso, all of that blew up because photography said, your art is wasted on anything but what you want to create. So many people died until we figured out this little equation. So you got a guy that had mental problems, Van Gogh, and he made the most exquisite images because guess where it comes from? It comes from pain turning into starlight. That's what it is. In the modern day, we now understand that, and we see how many millions of dollars the Mona Lisa and other things are worth, incalculable. And A Starry Night is on every t-shirt everywhere. It's one of the most valuable Did he get to earn that money? No. My world that I imagine, and Imagine a World is my name, my company, and my foundation we're creating right now, is imagine if everybody was born, they found their gift, they found their instrument, and they did what they were born to do, their gift giving to everybody forever. You never work a day in your life. The greatest thing you can give to your children, if you want them to have a better life than you, is that. If when your children grow up and they say they're not working, they're doing what they were born to do, you have succeeded as a parent. Hands down, you're the number one parent in the world because that's your job, period, end story. And you're supposed to be the Gandalf that says, hey, you got a special gift, Frodo. Only you could take this ring. And why was that true of Frodo? Because he was humble. And this is the other part, that I can be the dangerous man because I've been humbled. I've been broken. And when you break really deeply, when you have your mother that doesn't know who you are, when you have your father die because he fell in the pool dead, while you're on vacation, you get that phone call. When you have the roommate that you're living with, that's your sister-in-law, have 3 months to live, and you sat there and held her hand as she passed. And you've done that 7 times. You can't do anything but be humbled. Because before the world of the magnificent octopus, before the world of the magnificent whale shark, giving birth to 300 babies, it's beyond comprehension. But to comprehend it is to be alive. To comprehend it is to be starlight walking on earth, is to be water out of the ocean, our birthplace, and walk on planet Earth. And commune with those around you that you collect by giving them everything you have, leaving it all out there on every day as you wake up. And this is my routine every morning. I make my bed out of respect to myself. And then I go promise myself, here's how I can be better today. And I pick just 3 things, random. They can be big. Usually it's 1 big, 1 medium, 1 small. And then I go about doing my day that way. And maybe it's go to work and make money so I can live the way I live. And maybe it's going to work and cheering somebody up because they're depressed. They just lost their dog and they, or they need some time off. So you donate your vacation days or your sick days so someone else can enjoy it. And you never think about what it's going to cost you. Because every single time you give your sick days to someone, you're making more time for yourself, more quality time where you can say, and you get back in that bed and you say, man, I did something good. I did a mitzvah. I did a mitzvah, man. I love that word mitzvah. It sounds like what it is, right? It's like Shakespeare had that word swagger that he invented, right? So
you're a real mensch.
I'm a mensch. Thank you. I think is that good?
Yes, that's a compliment.
Okay. So that's the idea, and this is all about my artwork. But I like this particular style, and this is going to be one I'm going to add. And then this is something that's really interesting. So Michelangelo never ever signed anything. He didn't have to because he was the verb of making, And that was his gift to the world. So he never asked for anything. So think about this. Unconditional love until he went to see the Pietà. So if you get a chance to see the Pietà in Italy, I highly recommend it. It's life-changing. What you should look for is on the sash across. So he found out that he was listening to people looking at the Pietà, and somebody said it was another artist who created it. So this is the only work of Michelangelo's that ever had his name on it, and it only happened because someone he overheard in 1499, overheard a visitor attribute his work to a rival. And so Michelangelo snuck his name in there. So that's something I found out that I did not know. So to perfect tense, made this, right? So you made this, or faciabet, imperfect tense, was making this. All art is the act of the verb of making something. When you made something, it's done, it's signed, it's not, it's the world. It's the gift to the world that you give. Art is a verb of living and becoming your best self. That's it. If you have an artistic way to live life better and make it better for other people, you are an artist at flipping burgers, at making, software work, whatever it is.
And we're right up against time. And so I did bring up The Scream. There's a very famous painting.
Okay.
It's all about perspective.
Yep.
Do you ever wonder, and I'm co-opting this from somebody, I don't remember the original source attributed to.
Okay.
But did you ever wonder if the artist was just trying to paint a dog?
I love you, Brandon, man. That's really cool.
Because if you look at it, you can see how it could be a dog. And then everyone's like, oh, that's a guy screaming. He's like, yeah, that's what I meant to paint.
That's it. Yeah. So thank you, everybody, for joining the show tonight. I think this is signature worthy. What do you think, Brandon?
Maybe not the first 5 minutes, but after that, yeah.
Can we edit that out when we make it permanent? I think we got to do that for sure.
Sure.
So thank you, beautiful people. Thank you, Brandon. Thank you to your family. I can't wait to this weekend. So right after, I'm going to have 11 o'clock in the morning. So if you know me, and you all know me here, 11 o'clock to 1 East Coast time. So it is early for the people in California. So love you if you can come, maybe for the last hour. That's cool. We're just going to talk about whatever. So come with some ideas and we'll make it worth your while. And I think most of the people here have been, Dr. Claire has been there every time. I mean, she's the one that always shows up. So thank you, Dr. Claire.
And we'll be back next week with who knows what else is going to happen.
Love you all. Be the verb of becoming a better version of yourself every day. Born of responsibility and unconditional love you give away. You are water magically walking along the earth. You are filled with star dust turning into starlight. Keep looking up. Good night.
Namaste.
Namaste.
But what you can do with AI, we're the dangerous people who get stuff done. And show you can too. Imagine a beautiful world with you.